Magandang hapon, Pilipinas! Ito po ang inyong balerina ng bayan, Lisa Macuja, na bumabati sa lahat ng nakikinig sa DZRH at sa lahat ng nanonood sa RH-TV, lalong-lalo na sa ating mga alagad ng sining at kultura sa buong bansa. Isang malaking bituin mula sa mundo ng sining biswal ang ating panauhin sa hapong ito. Nakilala siya bilang isa sa mga paboritong portrait artists ng mga royalty at nobility sa Espanya at maging ng mga malalaking pangalan sa iba't ibang larangan sa Pilipinas at sa ibang bansa. Bukod dito, gumawa din siya ng pangalan para sa kanyang mga naggagandahang mga flower portraits, kaya't bagay na bagay siya bilang unang bisita natin sa buwang ito dahil ang May ang buwan ng mga bulaklak. Ipinagmamalaki ng Art2art na makapiling ang tanyag at premyadong pintor na si Miss Betsy Westendorp.
Si Isabel Maria Westendorp ay isinilang sa Madrid noong ika-14 ng Disyembre 1927. Binigyan siya ng palayo na Betsy, alinsunod sa pangalan ng kanyang ninang na si Betsy Oshik, isang tanyag na Dutch painter. Bata pa lamang ay nagpakita na siya ng hilig sa pagguhit at pagpinta, bagamat hindi siya kumuha ng formal na pag-aaral sa fine arts. Gayunpaman, patuloy na hinasa ni Betsy ang kanyang likas na kakayahan sa sining at una siyang nakilala bilang isang mahusay na portrait artist. Sa Espanya, napangasawa ni Betsy si Antonio Brias Jr., isang Pilipinong mula sa dugong Kastila. Magkasamang bumalik sa Pilipinas sa mag-asawa noong 1951 kung saan isinilang at lumaki ang kanilang tatlong anak na babaeng sina Isabel, Carmen at Sylvia. Dalawa sa mga ito ay naging pintor din. Naging abala si Betsy sa kanyang katungkulan sa pamilya kung kaya't 2 dekada ang lumipas bago niya natutukan ng husto ang kanyang propesyon bilang pintor. Taong 1971 nang bumalik siya sa Maynila sa paanyaya ng dating unang ginang Imelda Marcos. Nakilala si Betsy para sa kanyang portraiture, landscapes at flower paintings. Nang pumanaw ang kanyang asawa noong 1976, pinili ni Betsy na manatili sa Pilipinas, kung saan may pangalan na siya bilang pintor. Sa ngayon, nakapagtala na siya ng mahigit sa 1,000 paintings at nakapagtanghal na ng kanyang mga obra sa iba't ibang gallery sa Pilipinas, Amerika at Espanya. Noong 2008, tumanggap si Betsy Westendorp ng Presidential Medal of Merit mula sa dating Pangulong Glory Macapagal-Arroyo. Patuloy siyang nagpipinta sa edad na 84 at sa kasalukuyan ay naghahanda para sa isang exhibit sa buwan ng Hunyo. Isang karangalan ng Art2art ang makasama ang tanyag na pintor na si Betsy Westendorp.
Good afternoon, Miss Betsy, and welcome to Art2art.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here.
May I call you Miss Betsy?
Call me Betsy.
Oh, okay, Betsy. Betsy, in the 6 decades that you have been in and out of the Philippines,
Yes.
what is the best thing about the Philippines that you just love?
The people. The Filipino people, I love it.
Okay, let's talk about the one Filipino that changed your life.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That was fantastic.
Your husband, the late Tony Brias.
Yes, that's right.
I hear that you have quite a love story to tell.
Well, everybody has a love story, so we
I
all
would
think
like
ours
to
is
hear yours,
important.
please, because I hear it's a very...
Mine was that
Yeah.
I was in Spain, single, and going out with some friends that called me. There was one who kept insisting on I go out with him, and I didn't really feel very much like doing it. So one day, after so many times he was calling, I said, well, today I will go out with him, so maybe he will stop calling for a while.
Okay.
And I agreed to go out with him because I wasn't made up like every day that I used to have my hair long at that time, put the rollers on. It took a lot of work.
Yes.
So I didn't care, so I said, okay, I go out with him. I put a bandana on my head, and we went to the movies. After the movies, we went to have a drink. There was a place where many of the young people used to go after movies. At that time, we did not go out at night. We only were allowed to go out in the afternoon and then have a drink and go home for dinner. So having that drink, suddenly somebody came into the bar, and my friend said, "Oh, there is Tony Brias. I want you to meet him." And I said, "Oh, no, never mind. Let's go home because I'm tired." No, just a moment. Then he called Tony. Tony came to our table, and my friend asked him, "Tony," well, he introduced us. He looked at me, I looked at him, and my friend asked him, "Tony, when are you going back to the Philippines?" And then Tony, looking at me, he said, "Well, now it depends."
Ah.
Oh, I felt so special.
Oh,
Then this guy, his name was Pepe. He was trying to make believe Tony that there was something going on between him and me,
Yes.
which I disliked because there was nothing going on at all.
Okay.
So Pepe kept on saying, "Look, why don't you take us home to the house of Betsy? Take her home, and you can meet her sister because she has a beautiful sister, and my sister is very beautiful." And I said, "Oh my goodness, he's going to like my sister more than me."
Okay.
So anyway, we went. He took us home. I arrived in the house, and I went to the dining room. To my sister, they were already sitting at the table, my parents and my sister and brother. And I said, "Maribel, come outside because the most wonderful guy is there. You have to meet him." So she came out and started talking with him. We stayed for a while. And Tony told, my friend Pepe told Tony, "You know, Betsy's a painter." And Tony said, "Oh, how interesting. Will you take me to the Prado Museum? Because I would like to visit with an artist." So I said, "Yes, I will take you." And then he said, "And can we not count on Pepe?" Because he didn't know whether he was my boyfriend or
Yes,
what.
yes,
And he said, "Certainly, we can
Not
take-
count on
Pepe."
Okay.
So he came to pick me up to go to the Prado Museum. So since I was going out with that guy, that for me was one. Besides, after that, when he left, I went to the dining room to my parents, and my sister said, "You know, why did you say he was so special? I didn't see any special person." I said, "Well, I'm going to marry him."
Oh. So it was decided.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
decided.
that moment.
Well, wishful thinking.
Oh, okay.
Wishful thinking, because the following day, or I don't know, I don't remember very well how many days passed, but I think it was very soon. I took him to the Prado Museum. He came to pick me up. That day, I combed my hair as pretty as I think I looked.
You used the rollers?
Long dress with all my rollers well placed. And, I mean, already off, but
Yes.
nice hair. And he looked at me like, like feeling so disappointed.
Oh, okay.
And he looked at me up and down and said, "Oh, but you are very young." So I felt like they put a shower of cold water over me. So we went to the Prado. I explained to him. He took me home. Never called back. No.
Because he thought that you were too young.
Well, I think, how old was I? Maybe I was 20, 19, 20. I was 20, he was 31. Yeah. So then time passed. I was out another day at the theater with another friend of mine, and then I saw Tony at the front row with two ladies, two young ladies. So I said, I must let him see me, so he remembered me, that I am here.
Yes.
So I thought, when you want to wait until they pass and the people are coming out, but you are making time to let him come in at the same time as you.
Yes.
When he passed by, and he noticed that I was doing that.
Okay.
Yeah. But that day, I was also wearing the bandana. So what the newspaper the other day said, it's not a magic bandana. It's just that it made me look older.
Okay.
So he called again. He called again. Yeah. And this time it was all right. I mean, he was not so disappointed. The one who was disappointed were my family. Because you say for the Philippines, it's a long way out
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And besides that, my husband, at that time, he was in Spain because he had mental depressions.
Oh.
So he was working here in San Miguel, but he had to leave because he went to Spain to be in a clinic. So my mother said that you don't look for a husband in a clinic. It's not practical. And she was right. He was right because it has been a very difficult life. I mean, being with a person who has a depression is not a bed of roses.
Yes, that's true. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, but you know, I cannot. When in the first place, when you are in love, you don't care. Huh?
That's true. Also, you really don't care.
Or you are brave enough to go through anything that can happen. So that's it. My parents did not allow me to marry him, so I had to go to the judge to ask the consent, because at that time in Spain, a woman below 21. Even if it was over 18. 18 is the of age, no?
Yes.
But before 81, you cannot get married. Now, yes. But before, you could not get married without the advice of the parents.
I see.
So I think it was all right. So it's in order that you don't get carried away and you want to marry, and then maybe in a few weeks or something you are sorry. So they called my father. They asked me if he wanted me to marry Tony Brias. He said no. He said, we sign here. He signed. And then after 3 months, I was able to marry Tony. Because after 3 months, you can marry whatever you want. When you are
21.
When you are 21.
Okay. So when you first met Tony, you were already called a painter.
Yes.
So you started painting when you were very young.
Oh, I started painting all my life. I always remember. Probably you were dancing all your life.
Well, since I was 8. So do you remember your very, very, very first painting?
My first paintings were portraits of my brother, who was a very young boy, because I am 9 years older than him. And I painted my sister many times. I painted my father. They were very disciplined, very good.
How old were you when you were painting these portraits?
Well, let's see. I am 9 years older than him.
It's probably around 10 or
maybe
11.
Maybe I was 15.
15.
Maybe I was 15 or 14.
But we understand that you did not have any formal classes in painting?
I did not. I wanted to go to fine arts in Madrid, but I had with my parents. My grandmother was living. We were living with her. And she was a very old-fashioned lady. Those kind of ladies, Spanish lady, all dressed in black, the whole life are invest in black, because once upon a time somebody died and they keep on the
they keep
black
on mourning,
forever.
Yes.
And she said, no, you cannot go to fine arts because I heard that there are nude models there of men. And that's not nice.
And it wasn't proper.
Not proper.
Yeah. Okay.
So they sent a teacher, a private teacher, to the house. He was a very good teacher. Very good teacher. Good painter, but better teacher. And he used to come. He gave me my first tools, my brushes. He gave me a painting box, and I started painting flowers. You know, the usual apple. That's something that everybody paints.
That's right. That's right.
But most of it, what I wanted to paint is portrait. I love painting portraits. Yeah.
And we will talk more about your portraits in a while. Marami pa po tayong pag-uusapan kasama ang tanyag na pintor na si Miss Betsy Westendorp. Dito pa rin sa Art2art. Magbabalik po kami pagkatapos ng ilang paalala.
Programang hatid ay sining at kulturang para sa lahat. Magbabalik ang Art2art. Schedule ng mga inaabangang konsyerto. Update sa mga magagandang panoorin sa mga tanghalan at teatro. Narito na ang Art2art Calendar.
Narito ang ating arts calendar. Sa musika, tampok ang international concert pianist na si Sofia Gulyak sa isang pagtatanghal sa May 8 alas 7:30 ng gabi sa tanghalang Aurelio Tolentino ng Cultural Center of the Philippines. Kabilang sa kanyang tutugtugin ang mga pyesa nina Rachmaninoff at Prokofiev. Tubong Russia, si Gulyak ang tanging babae na nanalo sa prestihiyosong Leeds International Piano Competition. Para sa karagdagang detalye ukol sa concert, tumawag sa CCP box office at 832-3704 o sa Ticket World at 891-9999. Sa teatro, inihahandog ng Upstart Productions ang off-Broadway production na Forbidden Broadway, isang comedy review na base sa mga sikat na kanta, tauhan at kwento ng mga makabagong Broadway musicals. Ito'y mapapanood sa Carlos P. Romulo Auditorium, RCBC Plaza na matatagpuan sa Ayala Avenue Corner, Senator Hill Puyat Avenue, Makati City. Sa mga sumusunod na petsa, May 11, May 12, 18, May 19, May 25 at May 26 alas 8 ng gabi. At sa May 12, 13, May 19, 20, May 26 at 27 alas 3 ng hapon. Para sa karagdagang detalye, tumawag sa Upstart Productions at 0917-528-5678 o sa Ticket World at 891-9999 o mag-email sa upstarttickets@gmail.com. Sa pelikula, inihahandog ng Instituto Cervantes ang libreng pagtatanghal ng Cine Negro, mga kakaibang crime drama na nasa wikang Espanyol at may English subtitles. Ipalalabas ito tuwing Sabado alas 2 ng hapon simula May 12. Ang Instituto Cervantes ay matatagpuan sa number 855 TM Calo Street, Ermita, Manila. Para sa karagdagang detalye, tumawag sa 526-1482. Sa sayaw, tampok ang Contemporary Ballet Company mula sa Idaho, USA na Trey McIntyre Project. Sa palabas na gaganapin sa May 10 alas 7 ng gabi sa Central Philippine University Rose Memorial Auditorium, Iloilo City. At sa May 12 alas 6 ng gabi sa The Activity Center sa Market Mall, Taguig City, Metro Manila. Kasalukuyang nasa Pilipinas ang Trey McIntyre Project upang makibahagi ng kanilang kakayahan sa pagsasayaw sa kanilang kapwa-artista sa Manila at Iloilo. Magkakaroon din sila ng interaction kasama ang Ramon Ubusan Folkloric Dance Group at magsasagawa ng masterclasses sa ballet, modern dance at technical direction. Para sa karagdagang detalye, tumawag sa CCP Cultural Exchange Department at 832-1125 Local 1708.
Usapang sining at kultura para sa lahat. Kasama ang balerina ng bayan, si Lisa Macuja. Art2art.
Kasama pa rin po natin ang sikat na pintor na si Miss Betsy Westendorp. We were informed that in Spain you became a famous portrait artist for members of the royal family and members of the nobility.
Yes.
What was it like catering to this kind of clientele?
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. I was very lucky and very grateful because the one who made that possible was Luis Gonzalez, who was a Philippine ambassador in Madrid, and Vicky Quirino, his wife.
I see.
Yes, we were friends from when I was living here.
Yes.
And one day, the ambassador said, "Betsy, do you have a Filipino passport?" I said, "Yes, I do," because when I got married, they gave it to me. And they said, "Would you like to represent the Philippines in this Filipino week in Madrid that will be on May, so we can have an exhibit of your paintings?" Oh, I was fascinated by the idea. I said, "Of course." And he said, "But are you ready?" Then I told Luis, I said, "Well, if you help me, I will be ready." And he said, "What do you mean by help me?" I said, "Look, a portrait painter has to paint people who the public recognize. Because if I present the portrait of my brother, of my sister, my father, they don't know them.
Yes.
And besides, there is something special about like a gossip to see how you painted so and so.
Yes, that's right.
So Vicky Quirino was very well liked in Spain. She had many friends since the time the father was president up to later when she was the wife of the ambassador. And she was she was everywhere. She met everybody who is who in Spain. So she really took a very enthusiastic approach toward my exhibit. And then she said, I'm going to start calling my friends and ask them to sit for you, that you are a wonderful, she said to me, you are a wonderful painter, and that they should have a portrait done by you. So she started to call and bringing me all her friends. We started by the Franco family and nobility. And then one day she called me up and she said, Betsy, sit down. I said, okay, I'm sitting down. What is it, Vicky? She said, look, get this telephone number. She gave me a telephone number. She said, this is the Palace of La Zarzuela.
Wow.
Where the actual king and queen are living. At that time, they were just prince and princess.
Yes.
Not even princess of Spain, which they will call later.
Yeah.
But the prince and the princess of Spain. But no official title yet, because Franco made him Prince of Spain while I was painting them.
I see.
But then that day when she said, sit down, she said, look, get this telephone number, call up this name, it's Marqués de Mondejar. He was the chief of the house of the Prince Juan Carlos. And you tell that you are the Filipino painter that are going to paint Don Felipe. Don Felipe is the actual Prince of Asturias, who is the heir to the throne. Felipe at that time was 3 years old. So Vicky sent me the car with her son-in-law, who was a grandee of Spain also, and he took me to the palace. So I arrived there with my painting tools and my easel and my things, and there was the Doña Sofia was there, and the kids, and I started painting them.
Wow.
So I was very, I mean, it's happening that I owe it to them.
Yes.
Because I remember the opening, the day of the exhibit, was a great success because they took care of the invitation. They invited everybody they knew.
Yeah.
So it was really incredible. And one newspaperman who was there, he said, you know, I don't understand about art, but as public relations, I think you are very good. And I said, no, it's not me, it's not me. I have somebody behind, no? That was the ambassador and his wife, yeah.
Well, behind many artists are patrons and patronesses.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yes, benefactors.
Benefactors. I always, whenever you go to a museum, for example, the how do you call it in Spanish, the tableau in Gante, no? Van Eyck, triptych.
Yes.
And you see their work, and the time that they have devoted to them.
Yes.
It was possible because they were the donors there who were taking care of the artist.
That's right. That's right. Miss Betsy, you are also known for your landscapes and flower portraiture.
Yes.
What is the appeal of these subjects to you?
Well, I like when something is beautiful and when something has movements. And yeah, I like beauty. I don't like to paint ugly things.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not a fashion, because now it's a little bit fashionable to paint ugly things. But to each its own. I like to paint what it moves me and it emotions me.
Okay.
So I started painting Manila Bay, which I think the sunsets are glorious here, especially before, without the pollution. No?
That's right. That's right.
They have become a little more grayish, but anyway, they're still fantastic. And I started painting the sunsets, and I used to paint also landscape, but my daughters, when I started painting landscape, my daughters complained because when they came from school, I was out painting. You cannot go out painting in the morning and have to go because at 12 o'clock the children are there.
Yes,
so
that's right.
a few days I was late, and they complained. And I said, look, it's nice for you to be a painter, but first of all, you are a mother, so we want you here.
Okay. Okay.
And painting portraits, I'm always there. I'm always there. But
speaking
I love
about
portraits.
your daughters, Carmen and Sylvia followed in your footsteps.
Yes, they do.
And became painters themselves. Was this something that you encouraged?
Inherit?
Did you encourage it with your children to paint?
Well, you know, I think actually the descendants, they are always discouraged by what the parents do, because they see the hardship more than the pleasure. Because there are hardships. Yeah, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
No, not easy. And for a woman, I think it's more difficult. For example, we were talking before of Sanso, who is a wonderful painter and very good friend.
Yes.
But he's free as a bird. You know, he has no family, and it's easier.
He doesn't have to stop at 12 o'clock
No,
so that he has to pick up his children
That's
from
it.
school. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. But I still paint portraits. I paint landscapes. I used to go to Pasong Tamo. Pasong Tamo at that time, it was, I think, in 1961. Pasong Tamo was, well, a place, there was no high-rising building, nothing. It was a few little nipa huts, and I used to find it fantastic and paint it. And then I painted the sunsets, and I love. Then a friend of mine, Tonet Dagdameo and Linda, they were very involved with the Orchid Society of the Philippines. So they asked me to paint an orchid painting in their house because they had, I think, a magazine which it was going to come out.
Okay.
So that was my first orchid painting. And in that issue, Ben Cap also painted an orchid for them. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
both of
And that got you started.
And that started my relationship with the orchids.
With orchids.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about your fundraising advocacy for the visually impaired.
Oh, that is my pet project. I think it's something very beautiful because I met Dr. Tolentino in Spain. I have macular degeneration myself, so I have a concern about how important. And they say, oh yes, for you artists, the eyesight is very important.
Yes.
It's important for everybody, no matter what is your work or what do you do. I think it's fundamental, it's important. And then Dr. Tolentino told me that he's coming to the Philippines, although he has retired and lives in the States, to help the poor, operate on the poor, and he has put up an off-field that helps indigent people to get eyesight. And I think it's a beautiful project. So he asked me if I could have a show or an auction. Then I told him in Madrid, I don't believe in auctions because people go there to get bargains, not to do a good action or to help the blind, but to get a good piece for nothing. No?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I believe they do. If they can get a bargain. They should not approach it that way.
Yes.
They should approach it in a way that if I buy that painting, how many people can see?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Then it's incredible the amount of people that could see. If they would have all gone to the exhibit that we put up, I put it up with the help of my fellow painters like Arturo Luz, Sanso, Caballero, Orlina. We were 12. And they all, everyone I said, would you give one? They say yes. But then the people did not respond. The day of the opening, the publicity was great. I had a great publicity. We had the press at home. We had a luncheon. Everybody was so nice. But the public did not respond. I was very disappointed. It would have, right now, the hospital in Ifugao needs laser for operating the eyes.
Yes.
And that will cost $40,000. And they need roof for the patients to be under shelter because the roof has blown away with a typhoon. So if they would have buy the paintings that we all donated, all this would have been possible.
Yeah.
But I think the amount that we could have gathered if they responded would be 4 million pesos, and only 600,000 were sold.
I see.
So it was quite disappointment. And I would like people to realize and to think, just for a moment, close their eyes. And how do they feel if they close their eyes and they don't see
cannot
anything?
see, yes.
Just think about the people that cannot see because they don't have the money to be able to pay for a simple cataract operation.
Yeah.
There are 40,000 blind people in Ifugao waiting for the people to donate. Because the doctors are there, the
Yes.
hospital are there, but the doctor need
The
medicine,
equipment.
need
Yeah.
equipment, and need the help of the people.
Tell us about your exhibit next month.
I will have 2 exhibits in June. I will have one in Alliance Française with Sansón and César Caballero, who is another Spanish artist. And I will exhibit Spanish landscapes. Sansón will exhibit something he did in Atiatihan. And Caballero is something about traveling.
Where will this exhibit be?
L'Alliance Française.
Okay.
In Reposo Street, I think. And then I will have a big exhibit in Manila Contemporary. It's in the white space. It's a huge, beautiful space. And I will put only flowers. My exhibit will be of my, oh, sorry, I made a mistake. Only clouds.
Only clouds?
Clouds, yeah.
Ah, okay.
Clouds. Yeah.
Wow. So at 8, I know you don't like, I mean, Sanso also doesn't like, do you still paint?
Yes, I do paint.
You do paint?
Of course, I paint every day.
Paint every day.
And you know, when I see my appointment book and I see I don't have any place to go, I'm so happy because I can paint.
Because you can paint. And you don't have to stop to pick your kids up from school
That's it.
anymore.
That's
Yes, you're a full-time painter now.
That's it.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Betsy, for gracing our program. And I hope to, we wish you all the best in your
Thank you very
upcoming
much.
exhibits
Thank you
next
very
June.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Mga kaibigan, samahan ninyo kami ulit sa susunod na linggo, 3:30 ng hapon, dito lamang sa Art2art. Ito po si Lisa Macuja, nagbibigay pugay sa artistang Pilipino.